Oh my god! I haven't been back home since I was 15, and I know when it comes to the Philippines, there's a lot of rich history there. My parents would tell me all the scary stories growing up, but as I got older and did my research, I learned in time it was actually due to colonization that was sort of used as a way to cope with the atrocities that afflicted countless lives. Also, kamusta akong isig ka Filipino, pahulog, linagaw, ani nga video. I speak Bisaya and I'm trying. Hi, my name is Jessa, and please join me as we look together our top 10 haunted places in the Philippines banned to the public. And before we begin, in the last video was in top 10 mad kings from ancient Egypt, I gave you guys a riddle. Did you get it? The riddle was, what is more useful when it's broken? The answer is, drumroll please, an egg. Your next riddle will be at the end of this video. Anyways, let's get started. Number 10, Paco train station. The Philippines is noted for its rich history and rich resources, from the languages to the food and to the people. The Filipino people are resourceful and dedicated to the causes of that matter, and are very much so, especially in times of war. In 1914, the Paco railway station was made as a grand neoclassical terminus of the main South Line and the Cavite line. However, during World War II, the Paco Railroad station was the site of a bloody combat, and the station's seizure signaled the collapse of the city's last Japanese forces. During the Battle of Manila on February 7, 1945, the United States Army 148th Infantry Regiment crossed the Pasig River from the north and landed in the suburbs of Pindangan and Paco with the Philippine troops under the Philippine Commonwealth Army. A battle took place around the station with some 300 Imperial Japanese Army defending it, and in 1990 originally was going to be turned into a mall, but thankfully due to historic supporters we were able to preserve it. They do hope to rebuild it back in 2015, but unfortunately the ruined station is now one of Manila's endangered landmarks. Now being obscured for a skyway project, of course urban explorers have managed to sneak inside to see what looks inside, but others have been caught for trespassing. Number 9, Ozone Disco. Located in Quezon City, raged in the early 90s a discotheque called Ozone Disco, or previously a jazz club called Birdland, but on March 18, 1996 a fire broke out, and at the time of the fire there was an estimated 350 patrons and 40 employees inside, and it was only approved to occupy only 35 people. Most of the victims were graduating students from university and young professionals, as well as high school students, and survivors reported seeing sparks flying inside the disc jockey's booth, followed by smoke which they thought was part of the DJ's plan. Another survivor stressed that about 15 seconds later, the electric systems of the club shut down and flames became visible. Many of the bodies were found along the corridor leading to the only exit, piled waist high. Quezon City says the club's emergency exit was blocked by a new building next door, and no property fire exit was installed. They also noted the security guards locked the exit from the outside because they thought a riot was taking place. The reason why those guards locked the door was because it was standard procedure and order by the management, who was only arrested for 4 years due to reckless imprudence, resulting in multiple homicides and serious injuries. To which the victim's family stated was a cheap justice. The Ozone Disco is now officially closed and an abandoned establishment, but there have been reports of strange activities occurring in the vicinity at night, such as faint disco lights, sounds of silhouettes of clubbers dancing through the late hours. Number 8, Diplomat Hotel. Also known as the Dominican Hill Retreat House, the Diplomat Hotel is an abandoned structure atop a Dominican Hill in Baguio, Philippines. Originated as the vacation house for the Order of Preachers, also known as the Dominican Order, alongside Spanish and American friars, made this building for the nuns in their order in Baguio. Then during World War II, the people fleeing from the Japanese soldiers looked for refuge within its walls, but then the Japanese forces invaded the property and made it into their headquarters. The secret police would also use this building to commit barbaric acts like forcefully violate and torment priests and nuns, as well as the refugees. When the American forces came in 1945, they besieged the right wing of the building while the Japanese soldiers took their own lives. It wasn't until 1973 that the building was remodeled into a 33-bedroom hotel by Antonio Agbaoa. Unfortunately, the owner suffered from a heart attack and a brain hemorrhaging that led to his death. Since then, the hotel ceased operations and then was abandoned. It was then looted and sacked and suffered damages from the 1990s Luzon earthquake. For paranormal believers, it is said the hotel is haunted by the victims and memories of World War II and considers this place as a ghost magnet. Phantom Japanese soldiers, headless nuns and priests, crying voices, moans and screams, as well as apparitions and photographs have been taken and reported. It was also featured in television programs like Magandang Gabi Bayan, Aha, and Kapuso Mo Jessica Soho. Number 7, Malinta Tunnel. On Corridors Island lays a rich history where the battle plans and strategic accolades during World War II. The islands was a key to Manila and had both US and Japanese military fighting for control. With so much bloodshed and death, this island in itself has been noted as one of the most haunted places in the Philippines. Malinta Tunnel is one of the places where paranormal activity on this island seems to occur most frequently. During its creation, the tunnel has been utilized as a military storage hub, a bomb shelter, an office and living space, as well as a 100-bed hospital. During the conflicts between the US and Japanese, when the US won and was able to reclaim the island, many Japanese soldiers took their own lives within the tunnel. An estimated 3,000 soldiers died by purposely detonating explosives within. This left many bodies entombed in the sprawling tunnel systems and extensive damages to the structure of the place. Although abandoned as a tourist mark, have many noted that the mountainside experienced unexplained phenomena. While there are no specific ghosts known, there have been felt the energy left from the soldiers and hospital patients still remain from the Japanese, Filipinos, and US descent. Many hear screams screaming in terror as if someone was still trapped somewhere, feeling as if one's being watched, dark shadows, and many, many more. Number 6. Mount Cristobal. In the Philippines, they say there's a mountain that the devil runs himself called Mount Cristobal. The giant is located in Dolores, Quezon, along San Pablo and Laguna, where it was named after San Cristobal. The mountain was tagged as creepy, dark, and haunted, but before the Philippines was able to regain independence, it was actually considered a holy place. When Chinese people came, they noted that the mountain was like yin and yang, how the mountain had both dark and light sides. Although the mountain is being visited time to time, most wanted to go to the mountain to challenge the devil. They say the mountain fools and lures its victims by appearing to be a local resident, or worse, they could copy your appearance. In one story, a couple who went on a midnight hike in Mount Cristobal accidentally took an unusual trail of the mountain, which at the time was not yet known. Because they took the hike after midnight, the registration was closed, and when they got lost, they took the point of the trail where they were never seen again. Locals say the two are still not found, and the stories of the couple was used by the devil to attract more victims and trap them into the mountain. Number 5. Pindangan Church Ruins. Located in La Union, Luzon, Pindangan ruins are a magnificent historical site. It is known to be the ruins of the vestige of an oldest church in the area that was built in 1786. The resulting village was named Pindangan after the church was stemmed from the Ilocano word pindang, a traditional way to preserve fish from the locals. This urban legend has been famous for decades, and the town of San Juan in the province of La Union, west of Luzon, is a fishing port. It has a number of ghost legends, including a headless nun, smokeless, faceless man, and a mysterious smiling white lady at the old tower. Most tales are said to have originated around this time, have been handed down by generations, and the nun's original story came from World War II, when Japanese soldiers decapitated her during the occupation of the Hispanic convent. If someone passes through the ruins and the convent is on a full moon at midnight, an eerie bell tolls, signaling the approach of the nun from behind you. First, you will feel a cold, creepy breeze, then wavy long hair brushing against your neck, and looking behind you, the victim would discover the spooky tale for themselves. Until the present day, the nun is still haunting the old ruins, and like the nun story, there are many more ghost-affiliated hauntings with the former church, as it has been told over and over again from different generations. Number 4. Carcar City Museum. Literally a work of art and an example of an American-era civic architecture in the Philippines, this building was designed and initiated by Mayor Mariano Mercado in 1929. I know this building isn't banned to the public, but I had to mention it because it is so beautiful, and as well, it's haunted. Again, with World War II, it was served as a torment facility by the Japanese, forced in which suspected supported of the rebel guerrillas who were drowned in their deaths at the now deserted swimming pool. My grandfather and my great uncle were guerrilla snipers, and they would also occupy the area where they were stationed in trying to defeat the Japanese troops. The stories they told me of Japanese soldiers taking small children and putting them in barrels filled with water and then slapping them with batons, threatening villagers to tell them where the troops were. This, of course, was just a very small percentage of the barbaric and cruel acts they witnessed during the war. So there's no doubt in my mind when it comes to these stories and these hauntings, they must take place. It must make sense why the Carcar City Museum would also be haunted too. Number 3. Clark Air Base Hospital. How does a place become the most haunted site in the Philippines? Well, located in Pampanga, this abandoned hospital in Clark Air Base is noted as one, if not the scariest abandoned hospital in the country. Featured in a National Geographic documentary in 2013, hundreds of stories have been associated with this medical complex because of its history and the spine-tingling vibe that you feel at the moment you enter the premise. Served as an asylum for the wounded and dying American soldiers during the Second World War and a subsequent Vietnam War, it is said to be believed that the people who visit the hospitals and sleep within 8 hours after the visit experience nightmares and intense lucid dreaming for a week. The trauma and deaths from war added to the eerie spirit. Once you pass through the gate, its contents were left to looters and some dangerous spirits. What is left of the base is abandoned and ruins inside the Clark Freeport Zone. Though the airport took over a big portion of the old base, there are still plenty of reminders of the base's bloody and turbulent history. The base hospital itself is said to be seeing the most spiritual activity, that when it was open and in operation, nursing staff and other employees reported the doors opening and closing, and most chillingly, they would see unexplained people standing by who would just vanish into thin air. Screams and babies crying are also often heard, as well as countless reports of apparitions walking or floating throughout the building of what looks like to be long dead soldiers from battle wounds. The hospital is also favoring amongst many ghost hunters and is said to have housed the most tragedy and death, and many ghost hunters will vow to never return because it was that scary. Number 2. Manila Film Center. I'm a bit hesitant to talk about this one because my parents told me that they saw this on the news and it was absolutely tragic and really depressing on the occurrence that happened. We all love movies and we all want to be able to celebrate the artwork and culture of our people and showcase to the world what we got, but at the expense of the lives of your people, you think you wouldn't do something like this. Imelda Marcos, the wife of the dictator Ferdinand Marcos, wanted to make a Greek-like pantheon in the Philippines. She essentially wanted the Philippines to be the Cannes Festival of Asia. Hiring over 4,000 laborers, they raced against the clock to make this film center a reality. However, the ceiling caved in, and around 3 a.m. on November 17, 1981, trapped and killed 169 workers who fell into the quick-drying cement. A blanket of security was immediately imposed by the Marcos dictatorship, and because they wanted this film festival so bad, they blocked the rescue efforts for 9 hours, preventing the retrieval of the bodies, both dead or alive. Then they reported to pour cement over the dead. Why? Because they still wanted the Manila Film Center to be the Cannes Festival of Asia. Betty Benitez was the one overlooking this project, and apparently she died in a freak accident incident a few months after ordering the entombment of the dead bodies in the foundations. Now abandoned, it is said the spirits still roam the building, including Betty. Number 1. Bahay na Pula. A lot of these haunted places, as I mentioned, have a lot of tragedy in them, especially with our number 1. Bahay na Pula was used as an estate in Bulacan. The site was remembered for the mass torment and forced physical harm and death of comfort women who were victims of the war. The Japanese troops enslaved the women, ordering them to carry Lulu to the Ilusorio house, which was converted into a military prison. The soldiers first believed the house was used as a guerrilla hideout and raided the building, killing all the residents inside who were just hiding from the soldiers to begin with. Narcisa Claveria, a survivor, said she witnessed a Japanese soldier skin her father like a water buffalo with a bayonet, and Maria Lalubs, another survivor, said she witnessed them castrate her father. The corpses of the slaughtered people were all thrown into a huge pile and set on fire in the schoolyard. Hauntings of this building lingers as people overhear screams of the victims from the atrocities of the war, and this building is now partially demolished by the owner in 2016 and is officially abandoned. Although many historians and cultural heritage workers have expressed the need of the site conservation, the reason why is the building was torn partially down due to its danger of collapse, and the survivors would like the house to act as a memorial to those who fell victim to the Imperial Japanese Army at the Red House. So, did you learn anything today? Let me know. Oh yeah, for your next riddle, are you ready? What has roots as nobody sees, is taller than trees, up it goes, and yet never grows? If you're a fan of Tolkien, you'll know. Be sure to put your answer in the comment below and I'll reveal the answer in the next video, Top 10 Amazing Women Who Changed History. That's all for today. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jessa. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see your beautiful faces in the next one. Bye!